Hi, this is Dr. Mike from Fix Your Family. Are you in a crisis? If you're in a crisis, it's not funny. It dominates your life. You can't think about anything else. You've lost emotional balance. What you want more than anything is to be able to go back to the way things were before, to restore your life to the way it was, and also to prevent anything like this from happening again. Well, there is no magic wand that one can wave to make a crisis go away. I suppose if it were easily fixed, that it wouldn't be a crisis. But there are some ideas, some suggestions, observations that we would like to share. And they won't make things worse. Maybe these 4 ideas will make things better. The first thing we'd like to say is you cannot solve a crisis. You cannot solve a car accident or a drug overdose or someone who's a part of your life and for whatever reason suddenly they're gone. You can't solve that. So many times we said about things that we can solve, but we can't. What we can do is manage. We manage a crisis by making the best decisions we have with the information and the resources that we have available. We just try to make good decisions. And that means we make rational, logical decisions, and we try to avoid making emotional decisions. Very important to do that. Don't beat yourself up that you can't solve the crisis. Nobody can solve a crisis. The best we can do is manage it. The second thing that we'd like to do is point to a proverb that is spoken often by various 12-step groups. Alcoholics Anonymous, Al-Anon, Narcotics Anonymous. There is a saying that they have there, which is, "This too shall pass." Now, I think that's probably the most annoying thing. Nobody wants to hear that in the middle of a crisis. This too shall pass. You just hate that thought. But the reality is that it's true. Whatever crisis you're in, you can't think of anything else. Maybe you can hang on to the notion that this is going to be one day it'll be over. If you think about it, coming into the world, being born is a crisis for the infant as well as for the person that brings that person into the world. And human life is a series of crises. And yet, every one of us will outlast every crisis we face except for the last one. And by definition, that becomes somebody else's problem. Because of that, we would like to say that while this crisis may not end with a happily ever after or everything being the way it was before, it may not all be happiness. There may be some difficulty and some pain, but one day this crisis will be over. And because we know that, we point to a second proverb often spoken in the 12 steps, and that is, don't give up before the miracle happens. The third thing we'd like to suggest is that as you go through this and you're making decisions, look out for number 1. Ask yourself, when this is over, how do I want things to work out for me? Oftentimes, I see people go into a crisis and they make decisions and they make sacrifices that benefit other people to their own suffering, to their own detriment, so that when the crisis is over, they have a sort of a feeling, why did I do that? This worked out for everybody but me. As you're making decisions, remember to look out for yourself. When you get on the airplane and the flight attendant comes and gives you the information about, if we lose pressure, this little buttercup is going to come down from the ceiling above you, and you take it and you put it on your face before you put it on the face of the person next to you. If you don't take care of yourself, by definition, you cannot take care of the people who are depending upon you. When you're in a crisis, look out for yourself. Look out for yourself. And the last thing is this. It's important to ask ourselves if there were factors in our lives that contributed to the crisis that we're in, and will those factors still be present when the crisis is over? If a meteor came down from outer space and it smashed into your house, chances are you couldn't have prevented that. There's nothing you had to do. There's no way you can prevent it in the future either. But suppose the situation is that there is a person who's had a heart attack, and maybe that person was a heavy smoker, or maybe somebody who's gone into a diabetic coma and you couldn't get them to be compliant with their diet before that. Maybe there are circumstances that contributed to this crisis developing. And the question is, what can you do so that when the crisis is over, you don't fall back into that same hole in the sidewalk? What can you do to prevent the crisis from happening again? I hope that if you are in a crisis, that you will emerge from it soon, that the order and the balance in your life will be restored. And if you'd like to know more about changing your family, about making changes in your own life, I encourage you to go to our website, fixyourfamily.org, or to read our book, Fix Your Family. And thank you for watching.